Hello, this is Dr. Jeremy St. John, and today I'm going to demonstrate the SumProduct function in one of our decision models. So this is our Blue Ridge Hot Tubs model from Chapter 2 and the beginning of Chapter 3. And I still have the formulas in here that we left off with. So let's look at this. This is D6. It's got, up in the formula bar, you can see here, B6 times B5 plus C6 times C5. Well, that's the sum of products. So we're going to replace this with the SumProduct function. I'm going to just delete this. Type in equal sign is what all functions and formulas start with. Equals SumProduct. Open parenthesis. And now I'm going to give it my ranges. They need to be two corresponding ranges, and they have to be corresponding as in each position has to relate to each other. Here we've got the decision variables. That's my first range. Second range are my coefficients, and they relate. The first position of the coefficients is $350, and it relates to the first position of the decision variables because that's the X1 or Aquaspa. And the second position, 300, it relates to the second position of the decision variable, which is the Hydrolux. So that looks good. Enter. That's done. Now, for my first constraint on the left-hand side, this is cell D8. Let's look at the formula. B8 times B5 plus C8 times C5. I'm ignoring the dollar signs right now. Well, that's, again, the sum of two products. So let's replace that. Equals SumProduct. Open parenthesis, the first range, and it doesn't matter which order these ranges are in, but I'm going to choose over on the left-hand side, B8 through C8, comma, and then the decision variables, because all of our constraints are in terms of the decision variable, and then close parenthesis. One more thing, I want to copy this down through the range of D8 through D12, and I want the reference to the decision variables, B5 through C5, to be an absolute reference so it doesn't move on me. Hit F4 to insert all the dollar signs. That looks good. Now I'm going to grab the fill handle here in the lower right hand corner. Click, drag it down, release. So let's look at it. Yep, the relative references are incrementing. The references to the decision variables do not. So that looks good. Now I'm going to click on D6, go to Solver, set objective to D6, maximize. So make sure it says maximize by changing the variable cells. Those are in yellow here. Subject to the constraints, let's add them. The first one is, I can add these first three all together. So the range of D8 through D10. Make sure the sign is correct, less than or equal to. And then on the right hand side, F8 through F10. They have to be equal, both sides, but I can add constraints together. That's why I generally want to group my constraints by sign, because it makes it easier. And then the second batch are the non-negativity constraints, greater than or equal to. Okay. Let's see. I need to be sure and select Simplex LP for linear programming. And then hit solve. Solution's exactly the same as before, except all of my formulas are using the SumProduct function. The SumProduct function is even more useful, easier to use as these decision models get bigger. As you can imagine, if I had 30, 40 decision variables, it'd be tedious just to type that formula in because it'd have to be equal first position times the first range of the coefficient, first coefficient times the first decision variable plus the second coefficient times the second decision variable, and so on, and it would be quite a big formula. So SumProduct function, definitely an important one to know. Thank you.